Thank you for tuning in to Mind Your Business, MYB Talk Radio, the business radio talk show that talks all about business. Call and leave your comment 1-877-704-1010 or 410-481-1010 or listen live on WOLB's Baltimore.com. For more information on the show, please go to www.mybtalkradio.com. See how to advertise your business. See me live, see me in the studio, previous shows tab on that website, contact info on how to purchase full-length shows, and also find out how to keep MYB informing you on the radio. Go to that site. You can follow us on Twitter. You can like us on Facebook. As I say, hit that like button, please. And under Mothership Productions, Let's Talk Business on LinkedIn. Today's topic phrase is my worker's keeper, not my brother's keeper. Do employers really have their employees back so far as workers' compensation? How far along have those rules and limitations come in workers' comp terms and procedures? And of course, we're going to throw out some information, some history, some price tags so far as lawsuits and how far that can go. Some of my personal views, and of course, close with the dotted line. Right now, I'll give you a little bit of news. Google sues Apple for patent infringement, according to CNN Money. Get this, guys. This is pretty important because there's so many products that we've been using through Apple every single day. Some people don't even have enough money to survive with their daily bills, but they've got earplugs in their ear. So check this out. Google is accusing Apple for infringement of the iPhone, the iPad, the iPod, and the iPod Touch. These, along with a few others that weren't mentioned in the article on CNN Money, are a part of 17,000 patents that were inherited by Google, and this is after Google had inherited them, through Motorola Mobility over a year ago. And spokesman for Google Motorola division said, quote, "We would like to settle these patent matters, but Apple's unwillingness to work out a license leaves us little choice but to defend ourselves and our engineers." What a mess. And the iPod and the iPad, those are, like I said, those are products we've been doing and using for years. Also, on CNN Money, this is in accordance to, I don't know if you all saw or heard, you can see it on YouTube, but heard the Lap of Luxury show. Lamborghini's Sesto Elemento concept car that they came out with recently will be going into production at a price of $2.2 million. Here are some of the parameters underneath that. One, it's not street legal, as you can imagine. Only 20 will be built. And if you guys ever get a chance to see, like I said, it's called the Lamborghini Sesto. Terms and limitations or benefits, but yet some of you all are really not sure of every single thing that is included. So we're going to review that. And while that's on the mind, let's just go to the definition itself so everyone is on the same accord. According to Wikipedia.org, workers' compensation is a form of insurance providing, wage replacement of medical benefits to employees, to the injured in the course of employment in exchange for mandatory. Besides that, and the little picture of the cast of on the poster of workers' comp that everyone sees while trying to grab their coffee and food, that is really all people really know. But it goes a little deeper than that, and I'm going to give you examples. But before I do, call in, guys, 1-877-704-1010. Stories. What have you experienced? Have the employers been dragging their feet? That's a commonality that I've heard that has happened. And some people have not gotten the progress that they have wanted. So call in, guys. It's very important. I want to hear what you all have to say. But let's go into a little bit of history before that happens. According to Wikipedia.org and eHow.com, through Bing, workers' compensation of any type were initially enacted in Europe and Oceania. And Oceania, just so you guys know, is Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea, and the surrounding islands. And the U.S. followed shortly thereafter, so we were kind of late with that, but that's all right. In 1871, a Peruvian Chancellor, Otto Bismarck, to the injured, and this law was, of course, when these things first come out, they're opposed all the time, and that's exactly what happened. But, the Chancellor then followed it up with the Workers' Compensation Act of 1844. I'm sure some of you all know about that, but let's just review some of the rules and the statutes of limitations. One, workers' compensation must be filed in a certain amount of time. Example, it varies from state to state. So in the state of Washington, you have up to a year. In Oklahoma, you have up to 2 years. So some people don't realize that. But yet in each state, as I said, they differ. But here's another thing that some people really don't know. In each state has the authority to amend or extend the deadline. They think they have to go straight to the employer, but this is a government thing. So that's one fact. You gotta really remember that and make sure you have all your things in line. I always say that. No matter what you're dealing with, make sure your things are in line and make a copy for yourself, because you never know when things can get lost and you don't have the time to get back. And this is very important. This is your health now we're talking about, not just money and compensation. Also, the time that you start counting time and money lost also differs from state to state depending on the worker's individual circumstances. So, anyway, guys, like I said, call in, give your comments as what are the certain circumstances that you've gone through and what is happening. Anyway, as I said, start counting. Some of them start counting from the date of the event, which I think makes sense. Why wouldn't you start from that date? Because others start from the date. Well, I guess this makes sense too. The others start from the date that the employee realizes that whatever long-term illnesses are coming from work-related duties. So, make sure, so in other words, as soon as you think you feel something wrong, you need to report it, you need to file it, and as I said before, make a copy. Because that's very important, and things can get lost easily, especially when so many things are on your mind and you're trying to go back and forth to hospitals and doctors and get reports and disabilities, and that's hard enough to get also. So anyway, eHow.com also said, as so far as extending the deadline, most states require a judge to step in so far as extending it, which must, for the extension order. And another part of the advice that it gave was to get a lawyer, okay? You can't always handle it by yourself, and I know there are some people who are thinking that maybe I can't afford it. Well, there are some situations where some lawyers can be obtained and they don't get compensated until you get compensated. So think about that, because guess what? They will be getting a lawyer. The employers will be getting a lawyer. So I suggest that you prepare yourself as well. Let's fast forward to eHow.com again and give you some stats. So according to eHow.com, more than 3 million American workers reported on-the-job entries in 2009. And ForThePeople.com reports that in Orlando this year, someone was working on an overhang on a construction site, and a 150-pound piece of material fell on his head. And, of course, he suffered horrible catastrophic injury and made him permanently disabled. And he was able to receive $1,117,500 in workers' comp. Of course he did. He's permanently disabled, and I'm sure he has ongoing. As a matter of fact, when I read on the lawyer's attorney's website that he does have continuous funds coming to him in addition to this piece at 17. So, and since we spoke about lawyers, let's go into that too, because that's needed to be said and people need to know. So, according to MDCompLaw.com, keep in mind that, like I said, lawyers get their cut too. So, keep that in mind when you go for money, a certain block of money before, with the exception of, in addition to the ongoing payments. Make sure to keep that in mind, because lawyers usually get 33 to 40% in recovery. So, keep that in mind. And when the Workers' Compensation Commission says that when they order the compensation and the person or client becomes permanently disabled, the lawyer still can receive up to 20%. So, when you go to, just like when someone says pain and suffering or any type of case it is, sometimes they forget. So when they only ask for $5,000 or $20,000, don't forget, somebody's going to get that cut. That lawyer's going to get that attorney fee. So anyway, they also said on the commission's website that for cases like loss of hearing and amputation, something as serious as that, loss of vision, things like that, lawyers are entitled to only 5%. So, that's good. That allows you to, because I'm sure the medical bills on that, as opposed to maybe. Calling guys, 1-877-704-1010 or 410-481-99 1010 or listen live Baltimore.com. Just so you all know, this show today is brought to you by Joseph Riley Financial Group. They've been assisting others in their financial growth with business loans, construction. You can go to their website, www.josephrileyfinancialgroup19.com. You can follow them on Twitter, like them on Facebook, and even speak to them for business purposes on LinkedIn. You can also call them at 804-420-9372. So here I have some information for you to call for appeals also. So that's coming up very soon. According to the Workers' Comp Commission state.md.us, here are some programs that you all can be also informed about. The Energy Employers Occupation Illness Compensation Program, the Federal Employees Compensation Program, of course, the Longshore and Labor Workers Comp, the Black Lung Benefits Program, of course, that's for fire departments and mining jobs and more. So there are many ways to be compensated and many ways to get your case seen through. But as I always say, be organized, keep your things together, make a copy, make sure that you are going to the proper people. Do your research on this because, there are some employers out there who will drag their feet, and they might be good employers, but when they have to foot the bill, sometimes they can turn into a whole other type of employer. So make sure you have your things in order so there will be no question and no room for long discussions and discrepancies. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're organized. And like I said, the appeals, in case you need to appeal something, here's the number for the appeals division. I picked this up off of the same website, and that's 410-864-5320. Give them a call, guys, if you're having some problems there or any questions that I don't see, someone has not called in. So if you all have any questions later on, you can give them a call and maybe they can answer some more things for you. Once again, this is the appeals division. That's 410-864-5320. And outside of the metro area is 1-800-492-0479, extension 5320. Once again, guys, 1-877-704-1010. These programs are also brought to you by Mothership Productions, currently featuring A, that's to your administrative, clerical, and business services and products. If anyone out there needs to start a business or trying to get their business started, or even if you're already established and there are some things that you really can't get your hands on, make sure you check out that website. You're waiting for 6 months and your conditions, only getting worse, right? Okay, guys, we do have a caller coming in. Right now, his name is Thomas. He was holding on, and I really appreciate you calling in, Thomas. How can I help you today? Thomas, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you for calling in. How can I help you today?
Question for you. What do you do if you have a workers' comp case in and the attorney from the company and the attorney that represents you are dating each other now? What do you do in a situation
He was
like
dating who?
The attorney from the company and the attorney that you hired are now dating each other, but then if they let you know up front, it's almost until 2 weeks before the settlement date.
Oh, my. For whoever is the head attorney, first of all, you need to find out who the top of that company is and contact them for both companies, because that's not, I can't say it's malpractice, but it's definitely something that should not occur, and I'm sure that's a conflict of interest.
Is that okay?
You know what I'm saying? I mean, these are the kind of things that are on everyday contracts. You could get a group of business cards, and if someone makes you sign a contract for those 150 business cards, there is a disclosure on the bottom of the contract, the little writing and little letters that no one really reads because it's standard stuff. These are the things that it says. Things like you cannot, share information to another company. That's standard. That's standard on anybody's contract that you need to speak to. That's what you need to do. Okay? Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it. Call in next Monday. Thanks a lot, Thomas. See, all kind of situations occur when those kind of things happen. Make sure that you have all that in line when you call them. So when they ask you questions, you don't sound like you're disorganized and you don't know what you're talking about. And anybody out there who is also... So as I said, guys, we're at the close of our show, so we're going to go to the dotted line. What happens at the end of every contract? You come to the what? The dotted line. Some of us here in the U.S. and all around the world work very hard in the everyday working world. That's only some of us. Some of us have the opportunity. But some of us are working hard every single day. We work to provide for ourselves, and if our situation calls for it, we provide for others like our kids, our elders, and more. But when some of us go to our jobs that some of us are dependent on, and we get hurt or injured, we expect our employers to be on the job so far as having our back for compensation, whether it be big or small. So the question still remains, are you my worker's keeper? Well, that's it, guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you tune in every single Monday from 1:30 to 2 p.m. Before I go, I got to let you know there's no business like your own business. Miss Robin-Annette signing off on WOLB.